Welcome today. Thank you for joining this webinar on test case management. My name is Andy Holton. I am a systems engineer at Polarion Software. Joining me today as a panelist is David Merrill. Before we get started, I'd like to welcome you to ask any questions throughout the webinar via the QA panel or through chat to all panelists. Our panelists will try to answer all of your questions as we go along back through the panel, and I will try to stop from now and then to answer the questions verbally throughout the webinar. If you have a disruption in the audio or video during this webinar, please visit our website. On there, we will have a recording of this webinar, as well as other Polarion product demonstrations. In addition, you can conduct your own self-paced test drive on our website, either through our online portal or through our downloadable free 30-day trial. Our agenda for today, I will start with introducing Polarion and our QA solution, before moving on to why QA is vital, what is so important, and what you can do to ensure good quality assurance. And after that, I'll start getting into our software solution itself, going over how to manage test cases within Polarion, going over some various demonstrations there and areas. And at the end, I will leave the webinar open for any questions that you may have. And again, I highly encourage you to ask questions throughout the webinar as they come up. Polarion QA is our collaborative test management solution. At Polarion, we strive to provide a platform for improved test case management, being able to manage all the test cases and their relationships with other parts of project development, whether it be requirements or business cases, all within a single solution to help provide improved collaboration, better real-time reporting and metrics, and easily traceable results. We also strive to provide seamless integration between our QA solution and any external testing tools that you might be using at the moment. Here's a brief overview of our Polarion architecture. The first thing about Polarion is that it is a completely web-based solution. Everything can be accessed via a web browser, whether it is Chrome, Internet Explorer, or Firefox. Those are our three fully supported browsers, but Polarion can be run on almost any browser that exists right now. In addition, we have integrations with other tools, various IDEs such as Eclipse and Visual Studio, integrations with Microsoft Office, as well as other extensions on our POP website that will allow you to integrate with many of the tools that you might be using at the moment. All of these clients communicate with Polarion through all of our open interfaces. You can access any of the functional blocks within Polarion, whether it's project management, requirements management, task management, and so forth. So right now I'd like to present a quick case study on why QA and team collaboration are so important and what can happen when they fail. In early April 2010, McAfee released an antivirus update that caused tens of thousands of computers to crash and burn. And this was a huge inconvenience for not only their systems, but also all of their customers. The cause behind this, as the Tech Hill reported, was the failure to not only follow existing QA procedures, but also a lack of communication between risk assessment and quality assurance in determining what steps were needed to take to mitigate risk. On their blog, McAfee asserted that they would make sure that we put these processes in place so this never happens again. Throughout this presentation, I'll try to show you ways that Polarion can help you put similar processes in place so that a catastrophe of this magnitude, we can help you avert a catastrophe of this magnitude. So one of the major causes of these sort of errors occurring is the idea of separating projects into various silos. This can be silos between requirements management and quality assurance, where the requirements managers manage all the requirements, all the QA engineers manage their test cases, and there's very little crosstalk and very little communication between the two. It can be between various parts within quality assurance. The automated build testers test their automated builds, the manual testers test their manual tests, and the use case testers test their use case scenarios. And again, a lot of times these three groups might not have a lot of communication and a lot of linking between one another. This causes breakdowns in communication and can cause failures in either the running of the test cases or the verifying of different parts of the project. The solution for this is to eliminate these silos. First step, eliminating silos in quality assurance, making sure that all the different test engineers with all the different test cases can not only share information from each other, but communicate effectively and make sure that everything is being covered that needs to be covered, as well as making sure that all the test cases support one another. The second is to eliminate the silos, dividing requirements from test cases. It's very important to maintain communication between these two branches of product development to make sure that all the requirements that are being developed have a verifying test case, and that all the test cases are up to date with the requirements and so forth. The last is, or the third step, not necessarily the last, is to eliminate the silos dividing development and release. Again, to improve communication between these two project branches, to make sure that there's communication back and forth, so that tests that are run in release, the information will be sent back to development to be worked on, and vice versa. So now I'll get into how Polarion can help with providing these solutions. The first challenge is building test cases and specifications. How to bring test cases into a system and eliminate all untraceable documents. Be able to manage not just the documents themselves, but the actual individual tests within each document. And how to provide traceability between test cases and work items, or test cases and business cases, and so forth. I would like to get into Polarion now. What you see here is the home page for our eLibrary project. This is where, normally as a user, when you log into Polarion, this will be one of the first things you see. On the left here, we have the navigation pane. And what this will allow you to do is navigate not only between projects, but also between different areas within the project. Different spaces, which might contain several documents or wiki pages, or to any of the other links to work items, test runs, builds, and so on. Here within the eLibrary project wiki page, we have several links to specification spaces, release spaces, testing spaces, and using this we can go directly to those spaces. So what I would like to do now is open up a sample requirements document. This is the document that we are going to be using to make connections between the test cases we import later in this demonstration and the requirements here. So this here is the document view. And this is one of the most popular views within Polarion. Many users spend a majority of the time in this view. And what the document view allows you to do is work within a very familiar environment. This document is very similar to working within Word. You can edit the information within there just like you would within Microsoft Word. However, the main difference is within this document we have several work items. And then each work item is an individual artifact that can be traced not only within the document, but also outside the document. So here, I will open up EL 105, and we take a look at this work item. So as you can see here, we have sort of this work item view that allows you to see all the information related to this work item view. We have properties here at the top, and all of these fields can be changed and configured to the system that each company has in place on their own. We have description information, comments, linked work items, and so forth. The important thing in work item view and document view is that any changes made to this work item, no matter what view you are using, are saved as a work item and are updated in all views. So if I wanted to update the description here, say this should be easy, I can save this in the work item. I can open up our document and refresh this view, and you will see that this requirement has been updated here. In addition, all these changes can be made in document view as well. If I wanted to either make a change to 107, this must not be, I can make this change here as well. In addition, within the document view, I can also create work items. If I wanted to create a new work item, we should be able to see how much before return. I can create this work item within document view and save this document. Not only that, but I can actually split these requirements into two separate requirements, merge requirements back together, as well as link requirements within the document itself. Almost all of the actions that can be taken on a work item can be done through the document view. So for someone who is very comfortable working in the document-based requirement system and working in Microsoft Word, this is a very familiar view for them. However, not everybody is comfortable working in documents all the time. So in addition, one of the advantages of tracking each work item separately is we are able to have several different views for the same information. So in addition to this document view, we have a table view that is much more like, say, an Excel spreadsheet. And what we have here is a list of all the requirements that are within this document. And again, I can select a document, and I can edit the work item in the work item view here. So before I go on to import, I'd like to take the time to answer any questions that might have been asked. One question that I was asked is, what browsers work with Polarion? Currently, we fully support Internet Explorer, Firefox, and Chrome, but we have customers who use Polarion with many other browsers, with Safari and Opera. Many users actually access Polarion from their mobile devices as well, using the browsers that are within those devices. Another question that I was asked, can you add images and link to or attach other files? So within the work item, you can add images into the document as well as uploading any sort of file as an attachment to the work item. Under attachments here, we can browse our computer and we can select any file. Here I'm just select an example file, demo notes, and then I can upload this into Polarion. In addition, as I was mentioning, within the document itself, you can actually embed images. If I go back to our document view, unfortunately this document does not have any images within it. If I open up my eLibrary document, but yeah, you are able to upload images into Polarion through either the document view or the work item view. Another question, can more than one person edit a document at a time? Multiple people can edit a document at one time. However, and when these changes are saved, all the changes will be merged together. If multiple people are editing a single section and make conflicting changes, Polarion will let you know when you make, during the save process, that there is a conflict and let you resolve that. Now on to the import process. So now that I have my requirements in here, I want to import a set of test cases to link to these requirements so that I can test and verify all these requirements. Here I have an example Excel file. As you can see here, we have two sections. The first section is, well, three sections. We have the header at the very top with the labels for the three columns, name, which is the name of a test step or a header, the test steps themselves, level, and this is just a numerical value indicating, say, the severity level of a test case, and notes. These are any comments or additions to these test cases. First 5 rows here are all headers. If this was converted into a Microsoft Word document, say, we could introduce information underneath all these headers, just some general information on the test plan. The last 4 rows are all test cases. So these all have a name and some test steps. And what we want to do is we want to be able to import all of this information into Polarion without losing any of the differentiation between headings and test cases. As you can see here, some of the test cases, some of the headings are indented to indicate hierarchy. And we want to be able to maintain all of that as well. So in Polarion, I will select Import Work Items. I will select that I want to import a Microsoft Excel workbook, and I will browse for my file, eLibrary 2011. So the first view here just allows you to select where you want to import from. Here we can import from Table 1. We can begin the import at cell A2, and we can indicate that this table contains a header with information on the column names. In addition, we can choose to either import this as individual work items or as a new document. And for this example, I'm going to import as a new document. And this allows us to provide a very convenient package to see all of the work items that were imported together. I'm going to create this in the testing space. I'm going to call this eLibrary test plan. Go on to next. This next step allows us to map all of the columns to different properties within the Polarion system, as well as create work item rules that allow us to import different sections of the document or the Excel spreadsheet as different kinds of work items. So the first one I'm going to import are headings, and these are the headings that were at the top of that spreadsheet. I'm going to say we're going to import these rows as headings if the column steps is empty. So if there are no test steps, we're going to assume that the row is a heading, and we'll import it as a heading. And here we will say the name column we're going to import as title for the work item. Because there are no steps, level, or notes, we do not need to map these right now. Work item hierarchy, we're going to derive from indentation in column name. We're going to add a second work item rule, and this one will be for test cases. And we'll say we'll import as test case if steps, this should be, the steps is empty, it will be a heading. If steps aren't empty, it will be a test case. And again, we will map these columns. Name, again, will be title. Steps we will import as description. Level we will import as severity. And here, because we're using a numeric system for our Excel worksheet, we're going to map these to the numerations within the Polarion system. So 2 we'll say is a smoke test, 3 is a basic test, 4 is a detailed test. The notes we will import as comments. Again, we want to keep the work item hierarchy derived from indentation. And now I can preview all the work items that will be imported into Polarion. So here we can see that all the types are correct. We have all the headings as headings and all the test cases as test cases. All of the test case steps have been imported, as well as the severities. All the severities have been imported based on the rules that we had set up previously. So now we are ready to import our work items. We open the document editor. Now we can see all of the test cases that we have imported for this test plan. Again, we can see all the headers are properly imported, as well as the test cases. And again, from this page, we can make any changes you want. If we want to add a purpose to verify the completion of all the requirements, we can make the changes in the document, as well as making any changes to the work items themselves. So the next step, now that we have these test cases within our system, we want to be able to create links between these test cases and our requirements so that we can provide traceability from the testing of this test case back to the requirement to make sure that everything is verified. So what I will do here is I'm going to now open up our EL105 work item. On the right here, I'll select Copy ID. And this just selects the work item ID, and then it will allow us to select this work item. We can open up the Work Item Properties tab, and I will paste this link saying that EL338, logging to the portal, verifies EL105. And if I save this, these two work items are now linked together. If we go to one of these work items, say EL105, and I will refresh this view, we can see that now there's this link between EL105 and EL338. Before I go on, let me answer any more questions that have come up in the chat. So one of the questions is, how many test cases can you import at one time? There's no limit to the number of test cases within one Excel spreadsheet that you can import at one time. However, you can only import through this process one Excel spreadsheet at a time. Another question, can multiple versions of the same document with the same name be attached, or do they have to be different? Yes, every attachment is versioned and controlled within the Polarion system. So multiple documents with the same name can be added, and all these versions will be tracked throughout the lifecycle of the work item. Another question is, in addition to Excel, can we import from a SQL database? Yes, you can import all the data from a SQL database using the Polarion SDK. So another question is, why are some of these work items crossed out and some of them not? The reason for that is a crossed out work item indicates that its life cycle has been completed. For example, EL105 here is completely crossed out. That's because the status here is verified. This means that it's gone through all of its steps and it's reached the final end of its life cycle. However, for EL338 here, if we go to the life cycle here, we can see that it's still in draft. As this goes along, once it reaches the end of its life cycle, the end of its workflow, it will be struck through as well. This is a very easy way to see what items are still open and what items still need to be worked on. Another question is merging of new requirements from Excel with existing requirements easy to do? This is very easy to do within Polarion. We have what we call word round trip within Polarion, and what this allows you to do is export an entire document from Polarion into Microsoft Word or even Microsoft Excel, make any changes outside of Polarion in this document, re-import this into Polarion, and have all the changes be automatically merged. So another question, after importing test cases, is there a way to view them in a tabular format similar to the original that you demoed? Yes, all of the work items within Polarion can be viewed not only as a document view, but also as a table view or a tree view, and several other views. For example, with this document, so again, if I go to the views and I select table view, I can now view all of these work items in a table view similar to the original document. One more question is, can you reuse test cases? Yes, you can. As I will show you later in the demo, I'm going to demonstrate how to build test runs within Polarion. And the test cases can be reused in as many test runs as you want. And each result of these test runs is individually tracked within the test case. So far I've showed you not only how to import these test cases, but also to link test cases to existing requirements or existing documents within Polarion. This allows us to eliminate all of the untraceable documents and untraceable artifacts within Polarion. I've shown you how to manage not just the documents themselves, but the individual test cases within them. And I've explained how to easily collaborate either through Word or Excel files or other systems within Polarion. So the next step is executing the manual test cases. Being able to track all the test cases that need to be run, make sure that all of the requirements that are being implemented are being verified as well, and then being able to actually execute these test runs, not only within Polarion itself, but also offline through Excel, and being able to re-import all this information back to Polarion. So the first step within this process is to make sure that all of the work items, or all the requirements have verifying test cases before we run a test run. using the linking that I showed within Polarion, we are able to create a wiki page here that shows the traceability for all of our requirements within Polarion and all of the linking between all the requirements and the test cases. So here you can see on the left, we have a list of all the requirements within Polarion. This includes everything that I've imported now, everything that I've shown you within our requirements document. In the middle here, we have all of the test cases that are linked to these requirements. As you can see, I have EL 105 over on the left here. I have EL 338, which I just linked to EL 105. And on the far right, we have all the defects that have been created by the test cases in the middle. And what a view like this allows you to see easily is not only what defects still exist, and right now we are showing only the open defects, not only what defects exist, but also what requirements do not have a verified test case. So it's easy to see at a glance that EL 133, even though this requirement is at its end of its life cycle, there is no verified test case for this. So a QA engineer who comes to this page can see, oh, well, EL 133, we need to create a verified test case for this. It's very easy to see at a glance. An important thing to note about this page is this is an example wiki page that we've created for our demo project. However, our customers do not have to use this wiki page or an exact replica of this wiki page. This is all customizable. We can create many sorts of different ways to display information within the wiki pages. This is just one example of how we do it to present traceability and show how easy it is to see where the holes within this project exist. So now that I know that the requirements that I want to test have verified test cases, I can go into our testing space and get ready to create a test run. So as you see, this testing space is just a home page for all the testing. And again, this is a wiki page that can be customized. But in ours, we have a simple diagram at the top of the testing procedure, going from the importing the test cases, which we did, the creation of test specifications, which I did show, creating test run templates, and getting the test run results, which is what I'll show you in this next step. Below, we have a list of the test case specifications, as well as all of the recent test runs that I have created. So if we go to the right here, we can create a test run. And right now, I'm going to create a smoke test. I'm going to call it smoke 2012-06-14. And I'm going to create a smoke test template and create this test run. And we can now see that the work items within our smoke test have been automatically populated. Right now, we're taking all the tests that have a severity of smoke that are active and that are within this project. I can see not only the test cases that are waiting to be run, but information about the tested environment, as well as any problems found. And as we complete these test cases, we'll see that this section will be automatically populated. So right now, I'm ready to execute this test and go into Execute Test. And this will display a list of all of the test cases within my test run. And what I can now do is go through each one, and I can execute this test. Not only can I execute the entire test at once and mark it pass-failed, but I actually go through each step by step, and mark each one passed, failed, or blocked. So right now I will start this test case. I will say, for open portal view, let's say that this is passed. I can open the portal view, but our check top 10 favorite books doesn't work. It displays only top 5. And I can say this failed. And now I can mark this entire test case as failed, since I'm trying to find my top 10 favorite books. The second one, open author details. Let's say this all passed. I can search for some book. I'm going to start my test execution. I can search for some book. I can check the author name, and I can click on the name. It displays the appropriate information. So I can say this test passed. So now going back to my test run, I can refresh this page. I can see that 2 tests have been executed, 2 more are waiting, 1 test has passed, and 1 test has failed. Below here under Problems Found, I can see all of my failed test cases, along with each step. I can see that step 1 passed and step 2 failed, as well as any comments that I have on this test case. In addition, Polarion automatically creates a defect for each failed test case. And this defect is, again, automatically linked to my test case. So this will appear back in the traceability table I showed, and all of the linking is maintained. In addition, all of the information on the test run is included within the description to the defect. Let me answer a few questions before before I go on. So one question is, can you turn off the automatic creation of a defect? Yes, automatic defect creation can be turned on and off through the project customization. Many of the things within Polarion are fully customizable to the system that you use, and again, this is one of those. Another question is test execution with the test steps also available in Polarion 3.5? Not in the same way that we have it here. This sort of step-by-step execution of test cases is a feature of Polarion 2012. Again, another question is, if you run a filed test case twice, do you get 2 defect entries? It's possible to retest previous executed tests, but if you refile a test case and they both fail, you don't get an additional defect entry, but the defects are linked back to the specific revision of the test case that failed, so that you can see the defect pointing back exactly to the revision of the test case where it failed. So if you change this test case between the first failed test and the second failed test, you can see exactly the test case that failed. Let me get back to the presentation. I'll answer any additional questions in the next section. So the next step within executing the test steps is being able to execute all these offline. So over on the right here, I have export tests to Excel. And what this will do is create an Excel spreadsheet where I can mark all the statuses of our test case in this Excel spreadsheet, upload it into Polarion, and track all the data within the system. So again, as you can see, I have all of the test steps, or all the test information within my Excel spreadsheet. And on the right here, I have sections for test result and test comment. So for this first one, I can say, let's say test result failed. I'll make a comment, unable to open book properties. And then for the second one, let's say this one has been blocked. And blocked just means that this test step is not relevant to the current version or the current update. Under test comments, I will say books have not been populated yet. And I will save this file. Now we can go back into Polarion. We can import results from Excel. I will browse through my tests, and I will start the import. So as you can see here, it displays that our import is successfully finished. It tells you the number of test cases that have been executed and what the results were. So I will close this, and it will pull up our test run page again. And again, we can see all the tests that have been executed, all the tests that have been passed, failed, and blocked. And if we click on these numbers, we can actually see a list of all of these test cases, as well as any comments that have been added to it. So as you can see here. Again, below we have all the failed test cases, all the blocked test cases, and all the defects that are automatically created with these failed test cases. So now I can say, with 1 pass, 2 failed, and 1 blocked, this test case failed. So I'll mark it as failed. And now this test run has been completed. So one of the questions is, if it is so customizable, what is an upgrade like? All the customizations are stored within the context of the repository. When we upgrade, we place additional binaries within the system for our new versions. But the existing project repositories are not updated as a part of this upgrade process. All the information that are still stored within Polarion stays stored in there, and all the customizations are maintained. All right. So in this section, I've shown how to view test case traceability, how to make sure that all of the requirements have verified test cases, and none of the test cases have been missing. In addition, showed how you're able to create test runs and then execute these test runs, not only within Polarion, but outside of Polarion through Excel. So the last step is integrate an automated unit test. What Polarion allows you to do is to not only do manual tests, but to manage many types of automated testing. We have an automated build manager within Polarion that can automatically run tests and import these testing information back into Polarion the same way that, and handle it the same way that it does with manual tests. In addition, we can import results from other test management platforms in a XUnit format, upload these into Polarion, and again, manage them exactly the same way as you would with your manual test cases. Again, the same thing, all the test cases are tracked within Polarion, and all the defects are automatically created and attached to their verifying test case. So here, I'm going to go down to our build manager, and what I'm going to do is I will create a build. I'm going to say, I'm going to create a all test build here. We can finish this. And while this is running, I can go back to our test runs. I'm going to show you this is I'm going to show you a build that I ran previously while my new build is still running. Here's an example of the tests that were conducted as part of my quick build previously. As we can see, similar to how, everything looks exactly the same as it does with manual test cases. I can open up all of my past test cases, and I can see each individual work item. Again, all these test cases can be opened up as work item views, and I can see all the information relevant to this test case. And here I have all the properties, description, and test records. Then I can see all of the last 5 tests I've run of this, and so on. This one, because all of these tests passed, there are no problems. But for this next build that I have, we should have some. This is the newest build that I just ran. We can see that 3 have passed, 1 failed, and 1 has been blocked. And again, below, we can see the test case here and the defect that is automatically created with it. Again, with these automated tests, all of the individual test cases exist as work items within Polarion. These test cases can be linked together. They can be integrated into a test plan document. They can be linked to requirements. They can be linked to other manual test cases as well. Everything is treated exactly the same as if this were a manual test run. So the last thing I'd like to show is how to create a test run for a XUnit manual upload. So if you have an external testing solution, in this case I'm going to upload a Selenium file. Selenium is just an external test tool that is pretty popular. We create an auto test 2012-14. I'll select template as XUnit test manual upload, and I can create the test run. So now on the right here, I can upload results. I'm going to browse for my Selenium information file, Selenium test, open up this document, and start the upload. Now, as you can see, again, 3 have passed, 1 failed, 1 has been blocked. Again, everything here is treated exactly like a manual test. All of these test cases can be linked to one another, and all information stored within Polarion, one platform. Again, I can mark this as failed and save this test run result. And so I just showed how to integrate automatic unit testing with manual testing as well, how to create builds and how to manage the automated builds, as well as being able to import results directly from another test platform. So just to close out, I would like to give you a brief overview of our company. Polarion offers 3 solutions. In addition to Polarion QA, we have Polarion Requirements, which is the other half of our project management solution, as well as Polarion ALM, Application Lifecycle Management. And Polarion ALM is a sort of a superset of both requirements and QA. All of the abilities of both requirements and QA are included within Polarion ALM. We strive to provide a solution for all products and services, whether it's the automotive, the aerospace, medical industries, or whether you are looking for compliance, traceability, the ability to work with any methodology. We provide requirements management, test case management, application lifecycle management for all of these products and services. Here's just an example of some of the customers that are using Polarion currently. We have a lot of aerospace, automotive, and medical companies, but we also have customers who are in the financial industry. We have people in customers in telecommunication and in defense as well. So to close out, the next actions, I would highly encourage you to visit our website. We have a benefits guide there so you can see all of the information about Polarion QA. In addition, we do have a 30-day free trial online, as well as the test drive server that you can access through your web browser. It's now I would like to welcome you to ask any more questions. I will try to answer all of these questions as they come through. One question is how easy it is to auto-import Selenium tests, not via the web interface, but through a scripted, like an automatic build build or test system. This is very easy. Using the Polarion SDK, you can create a connection between either an automated task through Polarion or a connection between Polarion and your test tool to automatically import these tests. So another question is, does the ALM Pro license include the test case management module? ALM Pro does not include all aspects of test case management. In order to get all the test case management tools, a QA or an ALM license for 2012 is required. Another question is, email notification is there an email notification for a failure of a test run in QA? Within Polarion, you can set up email notifications, including for a failed test run, but also for other things such as creation of a work item or being assigned a work item as well. Another question is, what does the automatically created defect look like? So within our project, I will show you an example defect. Let me open up EL16. Within our project, this is what a defect looks like. It has much of the properties that are passed from it from the test case, as well as within the description, it has the information, again, passed on from the test case. These comments are all of the comments from all of the test runs that it has been in. And the bottom portion is similar to any other work item. But again, this view is completely customizable. If you have different information that you would like to store within your defects, it is perfectly available, or it is easy to customize this to your liking, to see exactly what you want to see and have the relevant information passed on from the test case. All right. One other question is, how are changes from a requirement propagated? So when you have multiple test cases connected to a requirement, how are the changes propagated down? So within Polarion, we have what is called suspect links. So if I'm going to open up my test case traceability table, and I'm going to find a requirement that has several test cases connected to it. Let me select EL116. So within this requirement, if I make a change, let's say under description, under basic information for the book, I'm going to say I also want publisher. So now I can do what we call a save and suspect. I can save and suspect this work item. And what this does is it places a tag on each linked work item to this requirement. So now if I'm the owner of EL40, I can see that I now have these suspect links here. And this indicates that I need to go back to this specific work item and make sure that all the changes there don't affect mine. If I want to say that these changes are all right, everything has been done to my work item that makes it up to date, I can uncheck suspect, and I can save. And now this work item is no longer marked as suspect. We know that everything with this one is fine. In addition to going through the work item view, we can actually create a filter and a shortcut for suspect work items. I'm going to say all suspect work items within this project. So now this can give me a very quick view of all of the work items that have that one of their linked work items has a change to. Again, I can pull up this view. I can make any changes that I need to. And again, I can go down to linked work items and unsuspect this. And we'll save this one. So one of the questions is, can you export preconditions as part of a test case? You can. You can import a multiplicity of a test case or any other artifact. All of the custom fields are, again, very easy to create and customize within the work item. So another question, can failures from an imported automated test, example Selenium, generate auto defects? Yes, they can. I will go into my test runs again. And if I open my automated test, we can see below that the failed test case has been marked, as well as a defect automatically generated for this test case. And again, this is automatically linked and automatically generated. So one more question that came in. Is there any way to get the test requirement through Mylin in Eclipse for JUnit Tester? Yes, Polarion has a plugin with Eclipse where any of the work items can be viewed within Eclipse, as well as being checked into Polarion so that all the test defects and test runs can be managed within Polarion. Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining me for this webinar today. I'm going to shut down the recording at this moment, but if you have any more questions, I'll stay on the line for the next few minutes to answer anything that might come up. Again, thank you very much for joining me today, and please visit our website to check out more about Polarion.